All right, good morning, everyone. I'm sleepy today. Well, I got up early, went to the gym, came home, had breakfast. uh, so I'm a little sleepy right now. Usually, after I come home from the gym, especially depends on how much effort I put into it. When I eat breakfast, I'm pretty sleepy. So I did something today that I've never ever done before, and I put it in my community tab this morning. Like when I do some things at the gym that I've never done before. I mean, I've worked out pretty much. I think I started when I was like 14. Had moments where I didn't do it at all. Do it, don't do it, do it, don't do it. Trainers, so on and so forth. Then I really got more into it maybe around 2014, 2013, something like that. I lost way too much weight. Had a trainer, lost way too much weight, but I had another trainer after that who had me doing more so powerlifting moves, which I was not familiar with, but I learned. I developed a real love for it, and I continued to work out. There were moments where I didn't, would go for months and not do it. Like when I went to New York, my situation, I wasn't able to at all. I was waiting until I got settled, but that never happened. Couldn't cook, so I was eating out. I had to eat out every day. So I've had times where I couldn't get to the gym for whatever reason, or I would just simply stop going for a period of time. And sugar, sugar. Okay, so I still pick up weight and still go to the gym, and it's like what they call that muscle memory still right there, boom. But I have been doing things lately that because it's good to have a trainer because a trainer will push you, but I don't have one, and I haven't had one for a long time. But I don't know, you just kind of push yourself, and it's so much on I'm not taking any work away from trainers, but it's so much on the internet. People will train you a long distance, and so many exercise videos and whatnot. But I will say a key thing is proper form, which I learned, from trainers and whatnot, and then reading on my own and being in some I used to be in a couple of Facebook groups for women. One was women who how power lifted. That was a really interesting group to be in, and just another one for women. And we could take videos and put the videos in the group, and they would tell us, about our form and whatnot. And so that's important because sometimes I see people in the gym, and I'm not. I had even got a training certification myself. I had trained a few people, and I used to work at this Salvation Army that was right up the street from. Well, it wasn't right up the street, but it was maybe like a 10-15 minute walk from my home. It would take a couple minutes to get there by car, and it was in East Cleveland, right outside of where I live, which is Cleveland. So they had a little small workout area. I mean, you could achieve whatever you wanted. They had enough there, everything there, for you to, make some great gains. And I was, they allowed me, they had me on staff. Well, I wasn't like getting paid or anything by them, but to train people and do a class, an aerobics class. It was just walking, like walking in place. And I worked with the seniors, older people, and whoever. And then I would train some people. I did a couple people in my house, because that's where when I got really serious into it, that's where I started, in my home. And I worked out in my home for about 8 months. But I had it was a 90-day challenge. I did that twice, and then I tried that. I can't remember what the name of that. It was pretty big back then. I'm seeing the guy's face, but shit, I don't remember the name of the program, but I ain't like it. But anyway, But I developed a love for lifting weights and whatnot. I have hurt myself enough times. Sometimes, you get, you know how they say about eating, your eyes can be bigger than your stomach. That's how it would be with lifting weights. Sometimes you get in there and you just get so gung ho, and you might be pulling a little bit more than you can, or you might be doing more than you should be doing, because you're not really educated on that particular lift and how it's supposed to go and so on and so forth. So I've had some injuries over the years that I wear proudly because it's something that I absolutely love to do. Even those months I go, and I will go for like months, especially like when the school year starts. Like around February, it's like I'm like, okay, I don't feel like going. You know what I'm saying? So I'll stop for a couple months. But anyway, so sometimes I'll see people in the gym, and especially as a woman, I have had men call themselves trying to tell me uh, that ain't how you supposed to do that, whatever, whatever, whatever. And then I'll tell them it absolutely is, and I'll show them and tell them, or I'll show them online, and they say, oh, and one I've had a couple guys tell me they were like they probably was just trying to flirt with you. I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. But I'll see people sometimes, and I know that they're doing a particular workout. Sometimes some workouts that I see people do online, a lot. I was like, well, that's a move I see on Instagram all the time, or whatever the case may be. I am not sitting here saying that I am the best and the top. No, I feel like it's always a learning, constantly learning and growing, and but the form may be off. When I see them and I like, well, they're not really targeting the area that they want to target because their form isn't correct. But they're probably just watching videos or whatnot, and it's no judgment or anything. Shit. Sometimes I still have to question my form. Am I is my I had gone through this. There was a gym here. I loved it. Okay, it was what was the name of that gym? I can't remember the name of that goddamn gym, but hell, they had everything in that motherfucker. And then when I went there, it was only $10 a month. I mean, they closed down. It was a hot mess. What was going on? And he had everything, just absolutely everything. I would go in there and I would do these deadlifts, and I got up to 235. Of course, one day I pulled a muscle. There was hardly anybody in there. Pulled a muscle in my back, right in my second to the last rep. And it was an area in my back where I pulled a muscle there before. The very first time I pulled it, I was pregnant with my daughter. And I went to, uh, I don't know, I was big, I was huge, and I went to bend down, I don't know, do something to my shoe, whatever, and I pulled it. And that was the first time I pulled it. I pulled it another time skating. I fell and I pulled the muscle in there. I had heard that when you pull a muscle in the area, it kind of weakens the muscle. So I pulled a muscle in the area like 4 times. So that one time, I just remember I felt it and I was like, oh shit. And I limped over to the front desk. I was like, you have some ice. And one of the guys that was working in there, he was a veteran at all of this. He said, I saw you over there. He said, as soon as you put that the weights down, he said, you turned, your whole face turned completely red. I was like, yeah, but I was the way I was doing it. He told me, he said that I was doing it wrong. Not so much my form, but I was doing way too many reps and whatnot, and I didn't know. But again, that's that learning. This was like years ago, but anyway, so this is not judgment. It's just learning. I just feel that for people that are interested, people that do work out, you make sure that you are doing the correct form. So first of all, that you targeting, and I'm still even learning that the targeting, that muscle, what is it, muscle mind connection, not just going through the motion, but having the mind connected to the area that you're targeting. And my God, I went through a spell where I was just doing the same shit over and over again. And I know, it's like, you're not getting nowhere, at this point. And I have some favorites that I watch. And there's this one woman. I mean, my God, the woman is just her. It's not so much you look at her and say, wow, what a beautiful body. It's not so much that. It is that. But you can look at her and see all the work that she puts in. She's got an app and everything, and she shows her recipes and her cooking and everything. She's just absolutely just like beautiful. And I have learned so many variations of workouts, like calf raises. I was thinking, like, well, what the fuck else can you do for the calves? You know what I'm saying? Besides calf raises. And so I looked it up online. It was just like scores and scores of shit. I was like, see, there's so many variations. And this particular lady that I watch is her and somebody else that I look at sometimes too. So show so many variations of workouts, of so many things that you can do, to work out, your body. And it's just so amazing to me. I had never, as much as I would deadlift, like I said, I got up to 235. I didn't have the confidence back then to do a single leg deadlift. And I just, something said, I was just the other day, like, try it. Shit, if you can do, lift all that weight before, surely you can do a single leg deadlift. And I did, and it's good for, coordination and your core strength and all of that, And I was surprised. So this morning I was there and I was looking up quad workouts and I saw sissy squats. What is it? A sissy squat and the pistol squat, I think it is. And I was like, oh, I don't think I do that pistol squat. Oh my God, And so I was like, what's a sissy squat? And I looked and I was like, ooh. And I was like, try it, and I did it. So, you're working yourself out. You don't know how much strength you have gained in your body that will allow you to do some moves that you don't think that you would be able to do. Um, because, like I said, when I was in New York, I gained a lot of weight because we didn't have a kitchen. Well, there was a kitchen, but the person I was staying with, she didn't want us to use it because the stove was fucked up. So we were eating out. Me and my daughter were eating out like every single day. You can eat out every single day. You are going to gain weight. I don't give a fuck what it is. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about breakfast, dinner, all of our meals. So I put on a lot of weight. And when I came back, the Scruffy, the animal over there, screenshot some of me on video talking about how fat I was. This bitch probably can't even walk up the steps, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay. There is a misconception that people have that because a person has weight on them, they think it equates to unhealthy and they think thin equates to healthy, which I don't understand why people still think that way. It's so much information now to disprove that. The group that I was in on Facebook, the one woman's group that I was in years ago for powerlifting, let me tell you something. Those women were strong AF. And there were quite a few, there was nothing thin about them. Okay. They didn't really care too much about their size. They were more interested in building strength. And that's what they did. I had found when I worked in one of the high schools, when I first started working in the high school, listen, the bell rang. I'm not the tallest person in the world, so the halls are packed, and they're teenagers. Shit, they're teenagers doing what they got to do. So it'd be packed in those hallways and be like, a ping pong, what do you go, a ball, just being thrown from here, there, everywhere, trying to get through the hallways. And you got, you had to walk up all of these steps. And because I had worked out so much for those years, I still had the stamina to run up and down those steps and keep up with those students. I mean, this woman doesn't know me. She doesn't know what she's fucking talking about anyway. So that doesn't have anything to do with it. But I did have to learn to focus more on cardio because I don't like it. I don't like it. There was a step class I used to take. This gym that I talk about on here. These people are attacking me and stalking me. That gym that I worked out there. One of the guy who owned it back then, he had a step class. I think he still does at wherever he's at now. That was the only cardio I liked because it was fun. It felt like a party time. you know, I enjoyed the movement and everything. So, but I had to learn, because I got to the point where I wasn't doing no cardio, just none. And there are some people work out they don't do any, you know. But for what I wanted to achieve, I was talking to someone who is a certified trainer, and he was just telling me just going, you're gonna have to add some cardio into your workout. So, and I've been doing that, and I find that because I knew this girl years ago that I grew up with. Well, we didn't really grow up together. By the time she came, I knew her from church. By the time she came, I think they were teenagers by the time they came to that church. Or she was. She was the oldest of like 7. Her mother had passed, and she was, estranged. Well, their parents had divorced. They were separated. So her sister, she was the second to the youngest out of 7, and this girl that I knew was the oldest. Her sister, way back, she ran track, and I think in whatever her uh, event was, she was maybe the second in the state for that particular event. I mean, the lightning speed we're talking about, okay? And so she had got custody of her sister, and the one who ran, she got custody of her. And we were friends at the time, so I used to hang out a lot with her. And they had their birthdays the same day, which is interesting, Valentine's Day. But her sister would often be away after school hours because she was at practice, and she would have to. I was asking her about her training and her practice and whatnot, and she was telling me that they had to lift, and I said, well, why you got this so long? Why you gotta lift weights if you're running? You know what I'm saying? And she was telling me how when you build up the muscles, it aids in your stamina and whatnot, and it just helps. She said it will help me to run faster. So even though all that time I really wasn't doing any cardio, but I kept building, working, lifting, and strength training. When I did start doing the cardio, I was surprised at how much my body was able to uh, hang with it with no problem. It was more mental. It's more mental with me with cardio. I just simply do not like it. And I think because it reminds me of when I was younger, a young person, and being in gym. And one summer, a lady who raised me sent me to some kind of camp, summer thing, track or whatever, and we had to run to I hated all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because I felt like back then, I felt like I couldn't do it, and then I didn't want to. Shit. I remember I used to play volleyball, but one year I went out for the basketball team. I said, goddamn, all that running up and down the court. I said, I don't want to do that. I think I was like in the 8th or ninth grade. I was like, I don't want to do all that running up and down that damn court. But the funny thing is, I did go through a spell one time where I was doing a lot of running, but it was really more like really light jogging. So I would sign up for like 5K events and do those, and I wouldn't stop, but I took my time. And I mean, it wasn't a walk. I was not walking, but I wasn't like running, but there were people who were walking, fast walking, who would pass me, but I wouldn't stop. As a matter of fact, one of the guys that I was dating, he went with me to one of them, and he was just like, you didn't stop. You didn't stop. Like you didn't stop running. I was like, no, because it's mental. And so the lady who raised me, I was doing all this running. Matter of fact, for those who are from the area, who know the area, I kept pushing myself. Every Sunday I would go to this area called Coventry. I would park my car, and I would run through Coventry, down Mayfield, down the hill, this steep hill, and Little Italy. And I would run all the way down, and I would run back up the hill, back to my car. And you know, when you look at it, when I look at it, I was like, damn, that's a steep ass hill. I don't think you could do that. But when I was actually doing it, it really didn't seem, it wasn't as bad as it appeared. And then I started challenging myself more. I would park my car at Coventry and run all the way down to this area, Warrensville and Cedar and Warrensville, all the way down there and back. And what was interesting to me is, as you're doing it, you think, when you're driving, you think it's all flat land. But when you're like walking it or running it, you see how many little tiny hills there are. So it's a challenge. So I pushed myself one time to park my car. I think I parked my car at Coventry, and I can't remember where I parked my car. Was it Coventry? I think so. But I ran from there all the way down to, there's a mall called Beechwood Mall. Or did I start at Beechwood and go back? I can't remember. But all the way down. And it was just so interesting because I, I saw people driving by cheering me on, and they were telling me, we saw you all the way back, at Beechwood, and I'm way down Cedar at this point, close to Coventry. It was far. And I remember at one point, I wanted some water. I was like, damn, I need some water. But I didn't have a wallet on me or anything to go in a drugstore. I looked up, the lady who raised me, she was right there. And she waved at me. Because she dropped me off. That's what it was. She dropped me off. She dropped me off at Beechwood. And I ran from Beechwood all the way to Coventry. And I think back. I can't remember. But anyway, so I looked at her and she was looking at me, laughing and smiling. I said, I'm thirsty. I need some water. And she said, don't stop, don't stop. And she stopped at, I think it was a Family Dollar or drugstore somewhere right there. And she got me a bottle of water. And so I was telling her that I was running these 5Ks. She saw something in the paper or somewhere for a run. I can't remember where she saw it. And she said, I signed you up for this 5K. And I said, okay, yay. It was in Akron. That morning, I'm getting ready to run 5K, which is only like 3.1 miles, right? Come to find out, it was a 5 mile run. I didn't know till that morning. And I was like, oh shit, I don't want to do this. But I wasn't going to tell her no. She had paid for it and everything. So her and me and my daughter, we all went to Akron. It was a church. Well, we started at a church. And I think it was the church coordinated the whole thing. It was packed. It was so many fucking people there. And when they started, these men, it was a whole bunch of men, they flew. I mean, they shot off running. And I was like, they're going to run like that the whole 5 miles. And when I tell you, they ran like that the whole 5 miles they did. I'm not going to lie. I was one of the last people, to cross the line. It started raining. At one point, I saw the lady who raised me and my daughter cheering me on, because people there cheering them on and everything. And she gave me a poncho, or I think she asked me if I wanted to wear it, but I didn't, because you're running and you're sweating and all of that kind of thing. So I knew it was just kind of that plastic would cling to me or whatever. But there was a lady in front of me. We were getting down to the wire, and I was just tired, like, man. But I told myself, don't stop. Don't. It's like it's mental. Do not stop. I looked at this lady in front, this white woman in front of me. She didn't have on no shoes. This woman didn't have on no shoes. So I focused in on her feet, her running bare feet on the concrete. And I was like, if she don't stop, I'm not going to stop, And I knew she wasn't going to stop. But I focused in on her feet the whole way, that last stretch. Whew, that was a tough one. And when she crossed over before I did, and then I did, and I went up to her and I told her, I said, I was looking at your feet the whole time. And she laughed. I kept telling myself, if you don't stop, I wasn't going to stop. She said, I wasn't going to stop, But anyway, and I had pushed myself to do those things because when I was younger, I did not push myself, And when I say younger, I mean like, preteen, teen years. I wouldn't push myself. I played volleyball a few times. I quit. I played basketball. Hell, I was like, hell no, I'm not doing all of this running. I quit. I didn't know that. I couldn't understand the whole thing anyway. It just seemed like a bunch of us was on the court, and it just seemed like mayhem, anyway, and all of that running battles. I don't know what the fuck is going on. You know what I'm saying? So, so when it came to, but my sibling, he was a soccer player, and listen, he was excellent. The boy was bad, bad ass soccer player, and I liked that in him. I admired that in him, because I was like, I ain't doing all that running, all that shit. So when I got much older, I forced myself to do these things because I wanted to push myself. I didn't want to be that person just well, whatever, fuck it, no, I wanted to be that person to push myself and to try. So as a teen, a preteen, if anybody told me that I had been working out for all these years the way that I do, I would have told them I'm not going to do that. That's impossible, But I did. Even when I was in graduate school, I went to Interdenominational Theological Center. Morris Brown, was it Morris Brown right there? Morris Brown was right there. Oh, but that was their track. What? Oh, Clark Atlanta. I would go to their track every morning and just do 2 miles. Again, very, very light. I've never pushed myself to run, hard. However, there were, I tried out for police academy. And, well, for people that were older, some of the physical the written I passed with no problem, but some of the physical tests for people that were older, over 50, it wasn't as, so we had to do push-ups, sit-ups, and run a mile. Everybody had to run a mile and a half. They didn't lessen that for the older people, and that was the part I was like, I know I'm gonna fuck up on that. But of course, when we did the push-ups and the sit-ups, ain't no that modification shit or crunches. No, you had to do a full sit-up, and I had not done a full sit-up in years. I did crunches and things like that, but and they were like proper form. And the man, I remember, he looked like a sergeant. I think he had been in the military. Beautiful. A beautiful middle-aged man. Okay, he looked at me and he smiled. He said, proper form. I said, oh, no problem. So I was able to do the push-ups and the sit-ups. Okay, so it say like they said, like push-up. You only have to do 7. For women over 50, you only have to do 7. So the sit-ups. Before I started, I said, so just 7? It was like, that's the minimum. Because I think we had like, was it a minute to do it in a minute's time, or 2 minutes, something like that. He said, that's the minimum. I said, so when I do 7, I can't stop. He was like, no, you have to just keep going, And it was tough. You think it'd be easy, but it was tough. And then right after, I had to do the push-ups. So, your body was already kind of a little stressed from the push for the sit-ups, and then you had to go right into the push-ups. But when it came to the run, I knew, I said, I'm not gonna pass, because I can't run. I'm not, my body's not ready, my mind's not ready. And one of the ladies came, because they thought it was like, oh, she did really, well for her age and blah, blah. She kept the proper form. And one of the ladies came to me, she said, when you run, you better not stop. Because it was just me and one guy, a white guy. They were staggering, from people from taking a written test, And so when we went there, me and him, it was a whole bunch of people finishing up the run. But a lot of the women were walking at that point. And she looked at me, she said, you better not. She said, you better not stop. Do not walk. And I was like, okay, I won't. Shit. I needed some, like, what is it, the Tin Man or whatever, oil in the joints and shit. When I started, my body was like, bitch, what are you doing? I can do all of that shit with the lifting the weights and all that. It's like, bitch, you ain't ran, and I saw how bad it was. I was like, oh my God, I gotta get this together. So anyway, I was just saying that, it just showed me, like, you don't want to, well, for me, everybody's different. You don't want to work out just for the sake of, of course I wanted to lose, and it took me forever to learn the difference between fat loss and weight loss, okay? So it's like, you don't want to just do this for aesthetic purposes, just to lose fat. Especially like I'm 53. You want to be, there's no reason that unless something has happened to you physically that you cannot control, accidents and maybe autoimmune issues and stuff like that. Um, you don't you don't want to do it just for aesthetic purposes. You still want to be, because you see these women on here on the internet who are like in their 70s and 80s and whatnot, and they're looking good and they're working out, they're taking care of themselves. As a matter of fact, Ernestine Shepherd, I believe her name is. I first learned about her. Essence used to have this a kind of like a picture book once a year, and they would highlight someone in there and tell their story. And this was I was so young. I was in my 20s, and I saw Ernestine Shepherd in there. However, she had not gotten to the place where she is now. And she was talking about what happened, how her and her sister, they went clothes shopping one time. They tried on some swimsuits, and they looked in the mirror and laughed because they were out of shape. And so they made a vow to get themselves together. And then her sister died, but she continued on. And I was like, and when I saw her again years later, I said, that's that lady I saw in Essence. So it doesn't matter your age. You still want to be able to move your body, because age doesn't have anything to do with it necessarily. Your body is going to go through changes, and your body's going to go through changes that you absolutely cannot control. My teeth, for example, because of the hormonal, the shift, the change that takes place, and the lessening of the hormones that women go through, men go through it as well. But that period called perimenopause, before menopause, which can be anywhere from a couple of months to like 20 years. You'll still be having a period, but your body is still going through all of the shit that comes with perimenopause. And it's so unfair to have to go through all of that shit and still have a cycle. You understand what I'm saying? But anyway, I've talked about that before. My teeth have shifted, okay, because the hormonal change. And you lose collagen, you lose hormones, and they're in certain parts of your body. The hormones that are there hold certain things in place, but as you're losing the hormones, so things shift. Okay, a lot of women, when they get older, they will develop. They talk about that midlife. That spread, where it's like, I've always had a little pooch here. Even when I got down to size 1, I still had it. Lady who raised me was like, I don't know why you're trying to get up. And she said, you done had it ever since you was 2 years old. You know what I'm saying? So genetically, it's just maybe something that I just have. I could never get it completely flat, But it's because of the losing the hormones, okay? The body still wants to survive, so it goes into a survival mode rather, and you will the body will create, I guess you could say create, or develop more fat cells, okay, because the fat is a protection, and it helps the body to survive. And you can find that we're not talking, in our modern era, we're not living somewhere in caves and ice cold and all of that kind of thing, at least in this civilization, a Western world. I remember I was a little girl, I used to always look at the older ladies in church, and I remember thinking to myself, why come all the grandmas fat? That's what I called the older women to myself, the grandmas. But now I understand, when my body was going through the change, in the process, and I had to do some fucking research, and I look at the motherfucking net, okay, and learn this information. Learn, motherfucker, so that when you get to that place in life, Miss Nat, you will know what to do. Cause ain't no money, $20 million, and no dick gonna do shit for you. Learn. So anyway, so you will find a lot of women will take hormonal replacement therapy, okay, to replace them goddamn hormones, okay, because it is a very, very, it can be a very tough time in a woman's life, and it also tough for the people that are around her, spouse, children, and whatnot, because it's like a fucking roller coaster ride that you're on, okay, and God knows how long it can last. Um, I have heard of women. I was in groups, Facebook groups for women who would their hot flashes were so fucking insane that they literally had to. I mean, they sweat completely through their clothes. Their clothes were drenching wet, where they had to always take a change of clothes with them to work or wherever they were going. I have not experienced that, but I did go through a process where it was just I would just heat up, but now I will sweat. Okay, that shit ain't fun. Okay, I just remember being a little girl again, seeing all the grandmas with their fans in church. You know, I will tell you this one thing that helps, and it even helps with this. And you will find fitness people who are in fitness and trainers and so on and so forth. Protein. I just like protein is just like magic, you know, to the body. When I increased my protein because I had come from a mindset of being vegan and a lot of vegetables and a lot of fruit. And I'm not saying don't eat a lot of vegetables and fruit. I've been vegan. I've been vegetarian. I stopped that years ago. I'm not opposed to a vegan meal. It's just not. I don't eat vegan anymore as a lifestyle. But I found that protein, you know, it's shit. That's like a wonder drug. You know, even for women who are going through that, when you find that maybe you can't sleep at night, you know, you're tossing and turning, eat you some protein, peanut butter. I would eat a spoonful of peanut butter, it knocked me right out, you know. Lavender, essential oil on your temples, on your pillow, it will help you to rest, help you to sleep. But even again with working out, because I've been pushing myself harder and whatnot to do things that I was either afraid to do before or didn't have the confidence, didn't think that I could do it. But increasing my protein intake. One thing that is not nasty, taste wise, it just, ugh, the way it looked, the bumps in it, the lumps is cottage cheese. So that's another one wonder drug, you know. There's so many fucking recipes out there. I remember when I was younger, a lady who raised me, you know, they had, she was always in Weight Watchers, and that was one of the things they would always have them eat was cottage cheese, and that was, ugh. But I would taste them like it's not nasty. I just can't take them lumps in there. It just makes it look gross. But there's so many recipes now, and I made a sauce one time with that. That shit was slamming. That shit was, even my daughter was like, oh, this is so good. The ice cream and you can put it in your protein pancakes and mix and so many different things. Okay, but protein I feel like is definitely essential and key. But again, it has helped me with the and then the foods you eat too. And I feel like protein is in so many sources, not just meat, you know. But it also helps you with sleep. Oh, I just said that. And it keeps you clear. You know, it's something about it keeps you not so foggy. Okay, I noticed, at least for myself, with the protein. I can't stand the smell of eggs cooking. Ugh, you know, it just stinks to me. But egg whites, that doesn't bother me. So something about that yolk, just the smell of it. Okay, but I don't have a problem with eating it. But even sometimes when I do feel like, okay, just don't want to eat no egg, you can again, just like with the cottage cheese, you can make things where you mixing the egg in, okay, for that protein intake. But nevertheless, that's not what I wanted to talk about, but it's good, okay. So I have been sharing with you all these people here who have been determined that they're going to stalk me and harass me. They're going to take me down and take my world and life away from me and steal my identity, steal my blah, blah, blah bullshit. Okay, the same old thing. So for a while, anything that I would do, you know, I would kind of keep to myself. I wouldn't post it online. Everybody don't need to know your whole fucking life online. I mean, that's just for me. You know, people want to post their whole life online, fine. But I'm not posting everything that I do and who I am and all that type of shit online. Okay. I just come from a different time period. And then the lady that raised me, just, you know, she was like, why would you do that? You know, and gave me some wise words one time about it. So anyway, some things I would keep to myself. These people have gotten so many people involved. I don't know. I guess they pay them like $50, $75 or something like that to aid them. People that they think I trust and will divulge all my information and my personal business to them. So one thing that I started doing was I do locks. And no, I didn't want to talk about it because I damn sure didn't want to be. Now they're gone. I didn't want to talk about it because I didn't want, especially like crazy scruffy over there, Maria Gaviria, from everywhere, all over. I didn't want no issues, and I said, but what they're going to do is they're going to they've been following me. Probably, well, they all have. I can't say all of them, but definitely Tanika. Well, I don't know if she still does, but they've been following me. I've talked about that um, and whatnot. So they're going to see what I'm doing. And um, what was I saying with that? So she would send her and the piss, Mr. Weed, and so on and so forth, and send these people, these clowns, is what that's the word I'm hearing, clowns, to me for services. And I could tell by the text, Tanika sent you, this is just the dumbest shit ever. You sound ridiculous, No, I'm not working with you. Okay, some people say, okay, yeah, I do it. You know what I'm saying? But it wouldn't end up happening. And there might be some people that I have worked with who were sent by them. It's okay. Um, I said, well, they probably want to do because what I wanted to do years ago. I'm talking about years ago. Well, I lived in Atlanta. I was in graduate school. Always loved locks. Always, always. First time I saw someone with locks, I was probably about maybe 7 or 8 years old. I told you all this story before, but again, I was born in 1972, Cleveland, Ohio. My dad came to pick me and my sibling up one Saturday. Lady raised me. She said he doesn't have a car. I think his car was in the shop or something like that. So you guys are going to be on the bus and, don't feel bad and blah, blah, blah. Okay. So we're on the bus. We're in the corner of Noble and Euclid. And this lady got on the bus with these long locks. No, they were not pretty and pristine like people do today with the perfect parting and all of that type of stuff. Okay. It wasn't that. Okay. And she had a nose ring. And my mouth just dropped. When I saw she was just like magnificent, all these pretty colors she had on and whatnot. She really, really stood out. Had never seen anything like that before. Had never heard of anything like that before. Again, I'm 7 or 8 years old. Um, Years go by, and our babysitter said to us one time, "You want to see some black people who don't comb their hair?" And we were like, "Huh? Never heard of that." Again, we were still young, okay, very young, and they took us on Noble. And there was a man walking on the street of Noble, long locks. Again, they were not the pristine, perfect parts and the hard gel and beads and all of that shit, okay? They were down to the fucking ground, okay? And my heart, he went, again, and when I saw him, like, wow, I was just so, like in awe. Of course, we played the role of, never had seen anything like that. Didn't know what they were called, what it was, or anything. I found out years later because I was like, Cleveland, didn't see that. But I found out years later there used to be a Rastafarian community in that area on Noble. And I said, that's who they were. So I was determined as a child that I was going to have a nose ring, and whatever that lady had in her hair, I was going to have it. And I did. Years later, when I went to Howard, I didn't grow up locks at Howard. At that time, there were a lot of people, students with locks. You see it a lot here in Cleveland now. You didn't back then. This was when did I go to Howard? 1990. But the nose ring, I was like, well, I had got my nose pierced actually before. I'll tell that story another time. Got my nose pierced here, but it fell out. Well, I'll tell you right now. It fell out because I was working in this mall. I was a student, but I was here at home for the summer. I was working in this mall. It was an inside mall then, but now it's an outside mall. But then it was inside, and I worked at like 3 of the stores there. And I worked at this kiosk in the middle of the mall, and this lady came through, and she had her nose pierced. And she came up. People would come to me and talk all the time. And we were talking. I said, I want my nose pierced. And she said, girl, I'll do it for you. And I was like, you can pierce my nose? And she said, yeah, I'll do it. And she said, well, what I'm going to do, she said, I'm not going to use a gun. She said, I'm going to use a needle. And I was like, huh? She said, all you got to do is ice your nose, get some ice your nose, numb it, and just stick the needle through with some thread. And I said, you know, don't that hurt? That's okay. She said, that's how I got mine done. And she said, I'll do yours. I said, okay. So she came the next night. It was a Woolworth right across from the kiosk I worked at. And back then, Woolworth had, well, Woolworth is closed now, but it had a diner. Woolworth food used to be so fucking good. Okay, but anyway, she went over there, she got some ice, she came back over, she iced the hell out of my nose, she threaded that needle, and she stuck that needle through my nose and put the thread in it, and that was it. Lady Raisy picks me up. She looks at my face. What's that in your face? Because when I went to Howard, my first semester there, she took me, her, my grandmother, and she saw all those women with nose piercings. She said, "You better not come home with no hole in your face. You better not." But that was my first year. But when I pierced it, by that point, I was like 19, or 20. So I'm like, I'm grown. She can't tell me. So, and I told her, what it was and what happened, and she was just so disgusted with me. But I kept picking at it and picking at it and picking at it, hoping it wouldn't fall out. And because I kept picking at it, guess what? It fell out. So I this is my junior year, go to Howard my junior year. There was a bookstore called the Blue Nile. Anybody from D.C. have been to D.C., y'all watching from back in the day, Georgia Ave, okay? And the Blue Nile bookstore. Anything black and sack, black and blue, black and poo, black. If it's black, it was in the Blue Nile. I mean, DC was so fucking cold. It was so cultural, and I think every black anything represented on the face of the earth had some kind of representation in Washington D.C. Well, I mean, they done gentrified the hell out of it now, so I don't know if it's the same. But one day at the beginning of the year, my junior year, I went to the Blue Nile and I got my nose pierced. So anyway, over time, I didn't lock my hair. I wore my hair like this. A better cut, but I wore it like I've been cutting it. It's been so many patches in there, but because it's like I'm trying not to cut it like skint bald, and I don't know. It's just something I'm dealing with right now. I'm like, I'm gonna do this, okay? But so anyway, I got some books. I had 2 books on locks: How to Grow Locks, The Science of Locks, all of that. And I would study those books because that's just how much I loved locks. I've had two sets of traditional locks, and I did part them. Okay, they were not freeform. And I had 2 sets of sister locks. I had a friend at how we called him Ba. His name was Brian. He was really good friends with Mtume, Faulu Mtume. Mtume, juicy fruit. Dun, 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 dun. Hey! Juicy. I used to love that song. But he was friends with his son. So we called him Fa. I didn't know Fa that well, but I did know him, okay, because I was cool with Ba. Ba would come to school every year with his hair cut. By the time the school year was over, he had locks out of here because every time he went home for the summer, his parents were very, very traditional people. And I think his father had been in the military too. They was not having it. So they would make him cut his locks. He'd come back to school, he would get that, they had a sponge now. Back then, he would just get a wet rag and just every morning, by the end of the school year, his hair would grow fast. He had him some locks. And now I remember this one girl, she had freeform locks. She had one lock, it was sticking straight up. And she would walk and it would bing, 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 but it would never fall over. Finally it fell over. But I was just so in awe of locks in the process. I thought they were just absolutely gorgeous. I used to just sit there and look at YouTube and just watch videos of locks, of women with locks. Of course, we didn't want to call them dreadlocks because it was the saying was that in the history that when those that were colonizing and destroying the culture of the black peoples and communities were calling them dreadful. Okay, that's where the dread came in. Okay, about that. You know how black people are with this good hair, bad hair thing. Okay, which I thought we was over that a long time ago, but apparently not. We just like the light skin, dark skin thing. I don't get it. Okay, but we're gonna move on from that. So when I was at graduate school in Atlanta, someone had put a postcard on my car, and the postcard was about these little tiny, teeny tiny locks called sister locks. Come to find out, I had picked up this book when I was in Atlanta. I get in Atlanta, yeah, Atlanta, at Shrine of the Black Madonna. Child, please, for those who know, okay, Shrine of the Black Madonna. Matter of fact, I watch Alexis K. Tyler sometimes. I did have the opportunity to have a couple of conversations with her, which for me was a huge deal because I used to watch her way back in the day when she had her show on A Vagina Power. This lady called me one day, was like, "You got to check this woman out on YouTube." And it was her. So I did have an opportunity to speak with her a couple times. And she had, I saw a video of her singing a song to her father, Jackie Wilson, at the Shrine of the Black Madonna, I believe in Atlanta. So the Shrine of Black Madonna, I would go there, black, had the all black, just black, all the cloth and the books and so on and so forth. And I met Ruby D at the Shrine of Black Madonna. I had a book. I got the book that day. That day it was Ossie Davis and Ruby D. At that point, Ossie Davis was no longer with us, had died. But I did see him at Howard. I didn't get to meet him, but I saw him at Howard. I'll talk about that story. I was sitting in the hallway waiting to speak to my teachers and fine arts and professors. They were so cool. They were some hippies. They was growing marijuana in the office, okay? But anyway, I'm sitting out there waiting to talk to them. This man comes through, big old man, big tall man. I was like, he looks so familiar. He looked like somebody's uncle. I finally go. He comes out. He spoke to me. I spoke. I go in. They said, "Did you see Ossie Davis?" And I was like, "That's who that was." But whatever. So I met Ruby D at the Shrine of Black Madonna, and she's from Cleveland. She autographed the book for me and everything. But so I got this book at the Shrine of Black Madonna called "That Hair Thing," okay, by Dr. Joanne Cromwell. And she was talking about how her whole story about hair, black hair, and how I believe her mother or aunt or somebody like that worked in hair salons. She was always in a hair salon. She was playing around with her hair one day, and she came up with this thing here, these tiny locks called sister locks. So when I got the postcard, I was like, "Oh, that's this." I made the connection. That's this thing, about this hair thing. I still had the book. I come to Cleveland. Had I come to Cleveland at that point? Not yet. I eventually moved to Memphis, Tennessee, and I got some sister locks. I got a set of sister locks. This lady named Glenna. She didn't charge much for the install or anything. And I left Memphis and I came back here to Cleveland. And I didn't think anybody was here doing sister locks. I looked on the website. Well, I didn't look on the website at that point, So lady who raised me, she helped me. I was like, let's combine these and see if we can just do some just regular locks. She did the best she could, She said, but I don't think it's going to come out right. And I really didn't know what I was doing. So eventually I cut it off. But I kept looking at the Sister Locks website and I said, I want to be a Sister Locks, what do they call them, consultant. I didn't do it. 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 I kept putting it off, but it was on me for years. I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to do that. So one day when I had the second set of Sister Locks, when I started my other channel, for those of you who watch, who know that I had my first channel, still the same name, I had Sister Locks. And I went to this gym where these motherfuckers are bothering me. And this girl, Tanika, she looked at me. She didn't recognize me. I looked different. She said, we spoke, and she said, "You guys, those sister locks?" I said, "Yeah." She said, I want to learn how to." She said, "I want some of those. I want to learn how to do those." I said, "Well, just take a class. They got the certification. Just go online and tell you where they're gonna be. Blah blah blah. This, that, and the other." And I said, "I've been wanting to do them too, but at that point I hadn't taken the class." Well, The lady who was doing my sister locks, who they probably paid her $75, $75 to assist them with their harassment, which is kind of sad because this is an older woman, and she's Muslim, and it's just kind of pathetic. I've known this woman for years. It just don't take much. I'm saying for black people, and I ain't gonna say all black people. I'm not gonna say that. Just I don't know what you want to call them, low hanging fruit. It just don't take much at all for them to just, all you gotta do is offer them just a few dollars in chump change, and they will completely sell themselves out. It ain't about selling me out. They completely sell themselves out. So because my daughter had a beautiful, beautiful head of sister locks. She had some sister locks, beautiful. They were gorgeous on her. Lady who raised me, she had got some sister locks. Lady was doing my sister locks. I said, I know how to do locks. Because the ones that I had, one set that I started myself. I said I should. The lady who owned the shop, which is her niece, said, here's a chair right here. If you want to come on in here, okay, I will. Call the state. In the state of Ohio, you do not have to have a certification to do hair or licensing to do hair, but they have what they call a booth license for for shampooing, and they have another one for makeup artists. They have one for people who do braids, and locks fall under the braids. So I got the booth license, and I set up in her shop. And I was telling her I wanted to do the sister locks, and I was like, it costs so much. She was like, you just gotta do it, just gotta do it. I go online one day looking at sister locks. Guess what? They were coming to Cleveland, Ohio. I could not believe they hadn't been here for years. I took the class. I bit the bullet and I took that motherfucking class to learn how to do sister locks. Signed the form that they wanted us to sign saying you ain't gonna do this, you ain't gonna do that. I did all that shit. Okay. Got the mannequin, did all that shit. Mannequin head, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. Worked in the shop. This is when the guy comes in to set up an appointment with me and calls me and says, Kenyatta, I have to cancel. And I said, bing, the light bulb went off. I'm like, this motherfucker. Okay, one of them niggas sent you, because I don't go by Kenyatta. I go by Kenyatta online. I don't go by Kenyatta in my, hold on. I left what I need in the car, so I'm gonna hurry up. So they done sent his mother. I called him, how you know, where'd you get that from? Well, you probably told him, no motherfucker, because he hesitated. No motherfucker, I didn't. I know me, I know my name, and I know what I go by when I go by. I said, okay, so they're literally stalking me. They have followed me to this woman's shop, which is like, it's not my shop. It's hers. You don't think she got some heat up in there to take care of herself and protect herself? You know how many years she's had a shop? And here comes some low niggas who just want to harass someone and stalk someone, which you all have no reason to do it, except you're jealous and you're determined and you've made some vow somewhere along the line, and somebody's going to pay y'all $20 million and all of this kind of shit. And now you're harassing other people. But some of these people, and I'm not saying all of them, some of these people have gotten themselves involved as well, which that's on them, So anyway, so I told her what was going on, told her what the deal had been being. I didn't think that the older woman, had, and I'm pointing because her booth was behind mine, had anything to do with it at that time. So I'm telling her the deal, you know what I'm saying, and it's her shop. Shit, hell yeah, I'm gonna tell her. Okay, I don't know. I'm not saying she's doing anything. The lady who owned the shop, nothing. But I no longer work there. Okay. But I continue to do locks. You went to the older lady and you got one of my fucking old ass business cards and said, nice business card. Motherfucker, I know it's a nice business card. I put it together. As a matter of fact, if you like, the next time you want to fucking harass me, ask me for the link to where I got the business card from, and I'll send it to you so you can have some nice shit too. But the card is old as fuck, it's tattered as hell. And I said, they got this from her because she had my cards. My phone number is on there. Okay, I put the phone number on there, whatever. But the address to the shop is on there. And you all are so silly, and you're playing such a silly ass game. I don't work there anymore. But that's still that lady's shop. You have no respect. You are so disrespectful to people to try to get something done that you have been bothering me about for years. Years. And it's so funny how you sent the shit yesterday after I made the video about Bashir Jones and his being convicted for wire fraud. I didn't say none of y'all was involved at all. Mr. Nick, if you're involved with this, bitch, go take the Sister Locs class. It's not a fucking competition. You confirmation, goddamn, from whoever it's from. You have a license to do hair. I see where you're at. I see where your shop is. Well, it's not a shop, but where your booth or whatever y'all call that shit. The salon lofts. Go take the class. You are not strapped for cash. You do hair. You have been doing hair for years. I think most women that do hair got money. You can afford that class easily. And it's not a competition. I'm going to beat her out, and I'm going to get these people to go to her and make bad reviews on her. You tried to fuck with me with my beads shit and tried to steal that. Now you want to try to bother me about this. And then, what was the deal with the $200 in the picture? What is that supposed to mean? I remember there's a girl I met at this fuck gym that I'm telling you guys about, who, she was fucking gorgeous. Okay. And I remember she made a video. She was a trainer. She made a video. A very nice person. I talked to her. She was nice to me. Made a video. She didn't make a video. She posted a video one time of some motherfuckers counting money. They didn't show their faces. She was just talking about she ain't into that, and it was weird. This and that. Next thing I know, years later, this woman was dating one of the NFL, NBA players. Okay. Who was with the one that was with that Kardashian. I don't think they're together now, or whatever. That woman, I'm just saying, it was like, when I saw her post that video, I was like, that looks so weird. You can feel all the nasty skank energy on it. All the debaucherous shit on the video. That's exactly what that shit looked like that y'all sent me yesterday, with $200 whole dollars in the corner with a raggedy ass old ass business card. And then the older lady calls me. People been calling me about you since, like, I don't see you on the website no more. What's that about? It's none of your fucking business. I talk to Sister Locs. No need for you to call there and say anything about me, because I have a regular talking relationship enough with one of the ladies at Sister Locs. And that's what I'm saying. Y'all do shit, and y'all all do it at the same time. Now y'all gonna try to stagger it out because I'm saying that. Bitch, go take the class. If you have not taken the class, go take the class. Get your Sister Locs certification and start doing Sister Locs. If you want some Sister Locs, bitch, you told me you wanted some Sister Locs. Bitch, I will install your Sister Locs in your loft. How's that? I don't know what you all are seeking. Your determination to do something. I don't know if somebody promised you something. Y'all's gonna get some money. Y'all gonna be famous, or what? We just got to take her down and all of that type of shit. Because you're just being foolish. And you're making an ass of yourself. Before me, before yourselves, before everybody else who sees what the fuck you're doing. I don't know if you don't think people see you. They may not say anything. And before the universe, before God. Oh, y'all don't believe in God. I forgot. You just go to church on Sunday and pretend. godson, and being in the choir and all of that type of thing. Girl, go take that goddamn class. What is it, like 4,000? I think it's $4,000 or 1,400. I can't remember shit. I do remember a four. That is not going. It's not going to hurt your pockets at all to go take that class. Go take the class. Pay close attention. Do what you have to do to become certified. Not just a consultant. They got steps. They got a lot more steps now in it than they used to way back in the day. And get your motherfucking ass on there as a consultant. And go make the money that you want to. You're already making a lot of money. I know you are. And then you will have that added on as an added on service. And there you will make a whole lot more money. Didn't the motherfucker open a salon in the gym? If he didn't, bitch, did you help him to what do y'all want? You help him to open a salon. Legitimately. And if you stop bothering me and other people, because I'm not the only person that you have done this to and are doing it to, then things will go, they will fall in line for you. But as long as you keep harassing and stalking, trying to take me down, have people follow me, send me crazy ass shit like that, you're not going to achieve the success that you want. And I'm not talking about bothering me. I'm talking about in your own life. You're going to stay stuck in a loop. I don't know how many videos I have to make, how many times I have to tell you all these things. But you don't get it. You're in Zombieville. You're in zombie land. Take the class, bitch. It don't take much for regular Locs. That's probably should be. I know they've made it excessively complicated, look complicated online, but it's not. I don't have those books anymore on the science of Locs and how they actually grow and the process that their hair goes through. I don't have those books, but I know one of my clients, I recommended the book to her because she was having a very difficult time going through what they call the quote-unquote ugly phase. And how come it don't look like these people and blah, blah, blah. I recommended the book to her. She read the book and she was like, that really helped me a lot. And she got past that. Bitch, I will tell you the name of the book. Matter of fact, let me look I will post it in my comments because y'all be over here 24/7. You watch me like a hawk. You watch everything I do. You watch everything that I say. Bitch, you the one who made them ugly ass beads. Talking about the lady of the vault. Bitch, I will teach you. Because I'm not in that business anymore. Bitch, I will take you to the bead store. And I will show you the crystals and the stones. And I will show you, I don't know if I had that book in. Yeah, I still got that book. I will sit with you and show you the properties of the stones. And I will show you exactly show you how to make those bracelets that will actually look like something, not like something a kindergartner made in arts and crafts class. And you can sell it to the motherfucker. I'll teach you what you can put on there, like I was trying to do with this fuck ass, but whatever. So that the motherfucker can sell them for an exorbitant amount. And because you all are so penile focused, the women will buy the bracelet simply because he has his name on it. Even though I think he's a fucktard, y'all don't, because he has his name on it. You can sell them to him at a kind of a cheap rate wholesale, but because of that one thing, and I will divulge the secret to you that is on it, it takes the value of it very high. So that he can sell it at a retail price. Pissy, listen up now. So he can make some money and actually have something that looks like something that is for real and looks like something of value. And then you can take your pictures with the ladies of the vaults and have something of value on your arm, not something that you got from the fucking Joanne Fabrics that looks like some 6-year-olds made it. Bitch, I will teach you how to make the waist. Ain't the African girl making the waist beads? But I will teach you how to make them with those precious stones. And you sell them to those women at that gym. And if him and his fuck ass brother are not fighting with each other anymore, then you can collaborate and sell them to the people at his facility as well. And I feel like he probably has a larger population of people who can pay it and who will pay top dollar for it, because there are people that go there who know quality when they see it. I will show you how to do all of this shit. Somebody want to copy me, learn to do tarot, but you don't know what the fuck you're doing? Call me, goddamn. Send me a legitimate text, and I will sit with you and teach you how to do tarot so that you can offer the service and not just be throwing something down and don't know what the fuck you're talking about, ruining people's lives. I will show you all of that. And anything else that you think that you're going to come over here and steal, I will show you. I will teach you. I will do it in private. I won't make a post about it. But goddamn, you're going to pay me for it. Nothing's free. So that you can stop wasting your time in your life, waking up every morning worrying about me and what she got going on and how we is going to steal this from her and how we is going to take her down and all of this type of shit that you're doing to yourselves. I don't own or possess any of these things. My artwork that I did actually do, yes, I own that. I will show you how to make. I don't make them anymore. And even if I did, it's so what? It's not a competition. Because that's a Cleveland problem. People in Cleveland think that they're the only person who can do something. That's why this city stays at a place of potential and never goes higher. Because of the spirit of the people here, like that, like you all. I will show you and teach you how to make the beaded body chain so that it can drape over the woman's body. I will teach you all of that. And hopefully, since you have all this energy to do this, you will have the energy to actually sit down with some discipline and do the work. As opposed to the one sister who told me I tried to make them, but I just can't sit there and do all that. Here, I'm going to pay you for another set. Boom. I make fresh juices. Wasn't the caramel latte girl, wasn't she doing that? Had the juices up in the store, wasn't no label on them or nothing. Sister, you got to put the label on them. That is a law. It's not something that I'm saying or just whatever. It is a legal situation. So that you do not find yourself in any kind of legal trouble from someone possibly getting sick because they don't know that something is in there that you put in there that maybe they're allergic to. And then you have your name on it. Come on, y'all. Wake up and get it together. I will show you and teach you some of the things that I learned from others on how to make some of those fresh juices. And all you gotta do is print this shit off. It don't take nothing to contact the Secretary of State. What is it, $100 for an LLC? I don't understand you. And don't you ever send me no shit with no cheap ass $200 in the picture or anything else monetary. I know that you all are run by money. I'm not. I don't give a fuck what little Miss Z told you. With her begging ass. Do you understand? You can make something that is specific for each trainer. Which is what I tried to do, but you're all on silly mode. Sandbox mode, little girl mode, little boy mode. Specific for each trainer and their brand. And goddamn, bitch, do you know how many other trainers who have stolen that step thing from you and flying with it? I see it all over the internet. And go look at his, and it's just the same shit he was doing like 10 years ago. Or 7 or however long it was. There's so many other trainers, gyms, and whatnot you can do the same exact thing for. Bitch, you be making hand over fucking fist. I'll teach you how to do it. It ain't long. Don't send me shit like that or anything else. You cheat bitch. Whoever did it. Now, if you want to be his fucking broodmare, be his fucking broodmare. I'm not interested. Philippe, I do not like you. I'm not interested in you or any of you or your group. I'm not taking no vows for shit. I could have took vows a long time ago with people who of some real status and real money. And if you're watching Miss Ma'am, older woman, pathetic, don't call me with no shit. And I'm not telling you a motherfucking thing. You are not my mother. And even if you were, so, because you helping them. If you're curious, one thing that I should do is I should be a consultant. I got ideas flow out of me like fucking a running faucet. Always have. You talk to me, you tell me your interest, and you tell me who you are. Baby, I can tell you exactly what to do with it to make you a fucking for real millionaire. That's what I should do. So I could be one. You don't have to worry. But let's get into her chakra and her intuitions and see what she's going to do next to steal it. No. I will teach you. I will tell you. Now, I have to do some work today. I will be back. Do not call me with your shit. And if you do decide to call me, okay, bitch, I'll take you up on your offer. It ain't no fucking game, and you're going to pay top dollar. I must be worth all that because you all have been on this for years. It ain't shit stopped over here. Not one motherfucking thing, and it won't. Business. Boundaries. Which is something that you, Mr. Philippe, need to learn so you don't find yourself in the bullshit that you're in now. You all, the rest of you, have favor. Peace.